Welcome to SOULutions, where men come out of the shadows to testify, giving tips in manhood, honor the codes of integrity, and give out real solutions for soul survival. Today, we have on the show two men of many shining examples, two leaders of our growth and innovation. By prioritizing their time and knowledge, they are building the roads to sustaining a household name and legacy brand. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the visionaries, the entrepreneurs, the teachers, the family men, two men of action and goal achievement, Mr. Anwar Higgs and Jamar White.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having us.
What's happening, everybody in podcast world?
Hey, man, how y'all feeling today, man? Y'all feeling good?
Man, feeling great, man.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
You know,
Are y'all ready to drop these gems and answer these questions today?
Let's do it. That's what we
Drop a
here
gem
for.
on them.
So let's put this disclaimer out for everyone listening today on SOULutions For Men. Usually it's one-on-one men interviews, but today we have something special. We got two men today. So we're going to ask these questions. That means one of them gets to think and the other one gets to answer.
That's even better.
So who wants to answer the first question?
I'll take the first question.
All right,
Yeah,
Jamar,
go
let's do it, man.
Jamar
Let's
on
go.
this one.
What person did you meet or see that gave you the drive towards the man you are today?
Wow.
Who or what defined you?
Wow, that's amazing. That's an amazing
think I
question,
already
man.
know
Thank
the
you for
answer,
that.
but-
Well, listen, man. I mean, I didn't have to look too much further than my bloodline and my first cousin Jay-Z. He was an amazing success, but I saw him come from the weeds to make it to where he was at, and so that gym was actually seeing his journey. And so that was all inspiring to me, and inspires me till today, and it really allows me to set the tone for how I want my blueprint to be laid out when the time comes.
No pun intended on the blueprint, Jamar.
Yeah,
Absolutely. If you could tell us one thing that he might have told you that sticks with you today, some type of gem that you could drop for people listening, something that you heard him say in his development, not on his where he is now, but in his development.
Right. Well, I remember before he had that record deal, and he was trying to transition from, his former life, like as we all know what he was doing, to what he was doing today. And it was really just about consistency. And so one of the things he told me was, stay consistent to what you're doing. And eventually the universe will conspire to give you what you need. So I remember him constantly doing music, constantly trying to link up and put his stuff out, even when people were like, closing doors in his face, And so that really pushed me to stay on top of my brand, which we started in 2010. So, it's going on some years now. And keep that consistent, and find my audience.
We're definitely going to get to that brand talk in a minute. You're talking discipline over motivation.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do is stay consistent even when no one is looking. Anwar, you had a lot of time to think over there.
Yeah.
What person did you meet or see that gave you the drive towards the man you are today? Who or what defined you?
Now, I gave it a lot of thought, and I really can't point to one singular person. Like, I feel like it really took a whole village for me to get to where I am right now. Growing up, I didn't have the best examples of manhood. And a lot of brothers can attest to, the kind of upbringing some of us experience.
Over 80% of us.
Yeah, right. So you already know, I really had to pull from just a whole number of different people, including my dad. My dad, he wasn't in the household. But he did whatever he could to make us feel like, we mattered. And then I had to pull from other people in the neighborhood, whether it was my homie's dad or if it was a teacher. So I kind of pulled from a lot of different places. And I believe I had to dig deep because how the streets can be. How things can get when it comes to the journey you're on. Some people make that one wrong decision, and then it affects them their entire life. And I got too many homies that have made that one wrong decision and still paying for it. So for me, it was just like, just have the resilience not to go too far astray. As a young boy, you want to understand the world, and sometimes you don't have the kind of direction that will put you on the path to success. But I just had to be resilient I can probably shout out 20, 30, maybe even 50, black men who were impactful in my life. So it's hard for me to give credit to just one singular person. But like I said, it took a village, and I'm thankful for that village.
Right. Absolutely. It can take 30 seconds to ruin your life. 30 seconds, 10 seconds,
absolutely.
15-second decision.
Yeah.
If you can dive a little deep for me right now, if you can tell me one anecdotal story that you got from one of those OGs in your neighborhood where you was like, aha, they were right.
I can tell you a story about my grandfather. I guess I was about 12, 13 years old. I was smart. I was getting good grades in school, but I was also trying to fit in, you know what I'm saying, keep up with the crowd. And so, I remember, running with some boys in the neighborhood. We was boosting out of the department stores, doing that kind of thing. Yeah.
He said boosting.
Yeah. I had to take it back, Yeah. We was boosting out of the department stores, and we was doing it pretty frequently. And I was only doing it because it was just like it was the only brotherhood I had.
Adrenaline rush.
Right. It was like, yo, these dudes is down for me, and this is what we doing, so let's just keep doing it. So I remember I got bagged at one department store, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they wasn't playing. It was like, no, you going to jail.
Right. You're going to jail.
Right. We really going to see this all the way through, this process through. So my grandfather, I remember my grandfather at the time, God rest his soul, he came and picked me up from the station. And he was like, this ain't you. Like, we know you. Like, I've known you. Some of these boys you're running with, they only seeing what you're presenting, the facade. But I know you. I know what you're about. I know that, this ain't the kind of lifestyle that you really are about. Like, you got big things in your future, and everybody can see it. So don't just throw it away, in one moment. Like you said, it only takes 30 seconds to really alter the course of your life. Right. So he's like, don't be that guy where you just throw away everything that your parents tried to put in you, and that was an eye opener for me, and I realized, I think it was at that point that I was like, all right, let me start being more of a leader and less of a follower.
We often don't realize without direction how much power we have. I didn't realize I had vision or that I was smart at all. Mm-hmm. I just thought I was just regular. Right. When I started seeing things in my neighborhood growing, I'm like, you guys, if we do this might happen. People didn't have the this might happen part.
Right.
I only had the this might happen part. So then I became the guy of reason. They checked in like, you think we should do this? Well, this might happen. Not to be the negative guy, but this might happen.
Right.
Oh, well, we have to weigh what we are risking here.
Yeah.
And when you got people like that, then you have people who have vision.
Yeah.
And then
vision
people
and
who
foresight.
Vision and foresight, and people who execute.
Yeah.
Tell me about one time when you were little where you learned a lesson when the iron was hot, but you had a chance to heal from it.
Yeah, that's a great question right there. When I was younger, when the iron was hot, and what's so funny? I got a similar story to the boosting. So I was a part of this gang called the Low Lives, where we would only boost Ralph Lauren clothing. Yeah. Polo Ralph Lauren. Yeah. The Low Lives. And so, and I had a similar story where, I almost got caught, right? And that really shook me up to the point where I was just like, yo, listen, I need to stop this, because I seen one of my homies actually go away for it. He had nobody to advocate for him. And luckily I had my grandmother who raised me to, be there for me, but he didn't have anybody. And so him not having anybody to advocate for him, he went up. You know what I'm saying? He did some time for that. And so that was my wake up moment where I literally, was saying the same thing. Like, listen, I got saved. God saved me. He gave me the second opportunity. Now, what am I going to do with it? And then I really started getting back into, school and my studies and things of that nature. So I think that was a turnaround moment for me to know that, there could be some real consequences to your actions.
Oh, absolutely. Since you got to share, and I'll share one story that comes to mind. I remember I was playing basketball, and we were in a park, and a couple of my friends, they were in gangs. Yeah. And one of our friends had an altercation with a rival gang, but we didn't know. So upon leaving the park, they pulled a drive-by on us.
Wow.
The guy was about 5 feet from me, very close, maybe closer than what they say COVID restrictions are. He missed. He missed me. The bullets grazed my arms, went through between my arms, like the little inch between my arms, me just put my hand up, like not knowing the bullet was coming, hit a pole and hit my friend in the back.
Whoa.
And that told me, hey, you're kind of close to what's going on right here. You got to understand that your life is important. And the reason I gave you guys that story is because I think our grandmothers and grandfathers is praying for us. Now, fast forward to today where our grandmothers are very young, don't have the same wisdom. Do you think things are changing in our neighborhoods because grandmas are not praying? Grandfathers are not there to guide. Everybody's just running around looking for their own identity instead of having any order. How do you guys feel about order? Any one of you can answer that.
Yeah, order. That makes what you're saying is profound because we're missing that older generation, I feel like. So, some of the young ladies is having children young, so they're younger grandmothers with less wisdom. You feel me? And so when you don't have that generational component, in your hoods and in your homes, where's the wisdom at, right? And so now you have a bunch of people making decisions, based on the wiles of youth. And that's not a good situation. And so I feel like we are actually in a tougher situation than we were generations ago, because we don't have that old wisdom.
Yeah, we've been on this trajectory for the past 30, 40 years. And it's not by coincidence. I'll just say that. I say it's not by coincidence. We understand, the external factors involved in making sure that the black man and black woman don't elevate. We know there's a design to that.
Let's touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Why? This is not to go against anyone, but it seems like black men in particular will put that in the equation, but our women will not. We were under attack for many years since the 60s and beyond when we had our own things, desegregation, segregation, and then plants got closed, drugs got dropped off, decisions got made to keep the family together by being apart. A lot of our women take those things out of context and say, hey, you guys are not here for us. But we didn't make these laws, and we're under attack constantly.
And there was actually a law back in the 50s, 60s, where if you had a man in the house, you couldn't get on welfare.
Right.
And so we would literally put in closets, put out the house so that the family could collect some type of assistance.
Well, in some cases, they made the decision together. And what happens is it was steps. It was our leaders gone for many reasons.
Right.
Factories closed. Because, when we were together at an 80% rate, marrying and within our culture, so was our dollars. Yeah. So was us funding our constitutional rights. And that's where we know follow the money is where we can get a say-so at the table.
Yeah.
Right.
When they defunded the table and then they offered a way out of separation.
For the black woman.
Well, not even for the black woman, for the black man and black woman. Because think of it this way. He said, hey, black man, if you leave your house, we'll aid your kids. And you have nothing else to stand on. So you got to talk. You and your wife are talking. In some cases, it's like, hey, babe, if I move out, you'll have this. So the man made a sacrifice too. I'm sure any man with kids doesn't want to leave his kids.
That's wild to me because that's a conscious decision that you got to make. And I think about how a lot of the decisions we make were done unconsciously, like especially when drugs got dropped off, like you said, and we didn't know how to deal with the pressures of taking care of family, everyday life, the pressures of being black in America.
Right.
It's a different pressure than what other people had to experience. And so when we turned to drugs and we turned to alcohol, and that was it. That was the downfall for us.
You're talking about survival.
Yeah, right.
It just became surviving. Like we had to survive.
Right. And we had to survive, and we was using those substances as a coping mechanism, but it wasn't really, it wasn't building, it wasn't elevating us at all. And then, like you said, we live in a very peculiar. Well, we don't live in we in Dubai right now.
Right.
So
yeah,
let's just
we're in Dubai right now. Right.
Right. But we come from a very peculiar society.
Yeah. Set of circumstances.
And you look at the things that are thrown at us in terms of institutions and things that we should be valuing from our institutions. We don't value our institutions now are our social media, Instagram. That's our institution.
Right.
How many likes and what can go viral, how crazy we can act in order to get people to notice us.
Right.
When back in the day, our institutions were, family, like you said, like that family's not even, that's an afterthought now. Like nobody's thinking about, yeah, I can't wait to get married and have a family for myself. And you don't hear young people talking like that anymore.
Right.
It's the energy, right? Social media is energy. You know, energy is not destroyed, right? It's just transferred from one entity to the next. We all know this. But when people go to social media with their troubles and their worries, they're then not doing it in real life.
Right.
Like even in the Bronx, as we speak, there are places where they're creating legal substance houses for people to use drugs in,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
don't overdose. But they're
That's
putting them
wild.
in all our neighborhoods.
That's
They say,
right,
hey,
of course.
come here
Yeah.
and use this substance so you don't overdose. We can have nurses and doctors here to make sure you're okay to use an illegal substance. We're not going to ask you how you got it, but we will arrest the person that gave it to you.
Right.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's just
That's the solution.
It's
That's
mind
the
blowing, right?
solution.
That's the answer.
Let me give you a safer way to do drugs.
Just say no.
In the same
believe
hood.
it or not,
How about
that comes from a certain progressive mentality. They use this word progressive, but see, that's the tricknology.
Yeah.
Right? The wordplay. Because when you hear the word progressive, you think that, oh, this is somebody trying to advance society,
advance
trying
and
to
help.
get the best out of people. They're
Right.
being progressive.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the progressive agenda, and it's like, whoa, hold up.
Yeah.
Like, what we really doing?
What are we
here?
really advancing?
Right. What are we
What
really
ideas are we
advancing?
really advancing?
You know?
Everything is done in plain sight now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people have to understand the most powerful thing in the world is pen and paper.
Yeah.
And we forgot that.
Right.
Something in contract, something written down is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to grow off the show topic real quick, but do you guys see that the guy in Detroit who created the water machine,
Yeah.
it was sabotaged.
Are
Yeah.
you talking about the gas? Like
Now he
brother
makes
that-
water out of air, giving out 2,000 gallons a day to people in Detroit, free water.
Oh, that's crazy.
And recently it was sabotaged and destroyed in the neighborhood because nobody would think that people in our neighborhood would destroy the water machine. They didn't destroy it; someone else did.
Wow.
Because money is made off our dysfunction, of everyone's
That's right.
dysfunction, not just us.
Yeah.
Everyone's dysfunction has a dollar sign on it, right? And in order for us to climb the ladder to success to be better, some people are going to lose money. So that's all I wanted to say. So the next
Yeah.
question I have for you guys is this: do you have a vision board?
I got a vision board on my notes in my phone.
Yeah, yeah.
That's as good.
That
I don't have
counts.
like a real physical vision board with like cutouts.
Yeah,
and
mine is
pictures.
virtual as well. It's in my mind's eye. You know
So,
what I'm saying?
so
My
we
vision
got
board.
we got Jamar saying it's in his mind's eye, and Anwar saying he has it written down on his phone.
Yeah, I actually got it written down. On
So
my
for
phone.
both of you, it doesn't matter as long as you have one. But most people say that we don't write it down. So I want to
Yeah.
make sure that at least we got 50% here, ladies
That's
and gentlemen.
right.
Let you know
Somebody's writing it
50%,
down.
but they still have goals in mind. Tell us either or, what is your apex goal that you're currently chasing, and
Right.
what is one that you currently achieved?
Well, so listen, as far as writing it down is concerned, right? So about 4 years ago, I was reading the book The Secret, right?
Yeah.
And I really believe in manifestation, right? And so I wrote down exactly where I wanted my business to go, and what I wanted personally for my personal goals financially, and then for my business goals. And I wrote it down, and I took a picture of it about 5 years ago. And literally, what you're saying about writing it down is a very powerful thing because it creates like a talisman or a way to focus your energy, right? Your manifestation energy, into whatever that goal is when you do write it down. So I do believe in that. And I definitely started seeing my goals being realized from that sheet. And when it finally fully manifests itself, I'm going to show people that picture that I took however many years ago it'll be when it does manifest. But I do believe in writing that down.
Let me tell you where I got that from. Speaking to women, I do speak to women often. Even though this is SOULutions For Men, we only have men on the show. I speak to women. They feel that we don't have vision goals or vision boards. They think we don't write stuff down. I told them, men write stuff down. You just don't know about it.
Right.
Right. You just don't. You're not in tune with us that much. We're not going to show you everything.
Nah, we
Because
not.
we kind of move. Because if we don't want to be susceptible to failure if we
That's
don't
right.
make the list, or we
Right,
feel like
right.
being lazy that
right.
day.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we don't let
yeah.
nobody see that list.
Right.
But back to the question: what is the apex goal you currently achieved, and one that you're chasing?
Okay,
yes.
so for me,
Anwar?
retirement past 40. So I'm 44, right? My goal was to be retired in my early 40s. Now, I'm not retired in the sense that, I got a business, but I'm retired from working for other people, and that was always my big goal. Now, I got other things that I want to accomplish. in business, real estate, finance. I kind of group it all together. But there's a lot of things that I have yet to accomplish. But because now I freed up myself and my time, I feel like that has been the biggest achievement for me.
Yeah.
In terms of business, personally, my biggest achievement has been just my family. My daughters. I got 3 girls, age 14, 11, and 3, right? And listening to my kids and witnessing my kids witness me start a business, work a business.
Get it open.
Yeah, get it open and see that, okay, daddy actually said he was going to do something. Like you, I don't announce everything.
Right.
I move in silence until I can bring something to fruition. And once I manifested it, then I try and, grow it that way. But like you said, I've always been very careful in what I announce in the universe, because if I'm not going to put all my energy to it, then it becomes, that it comes back to you like a boomerang and it hits you in your head.
So I do it to myself on purpose. I challenge my integrity because I know my integrity's high. I know myself.
Yeah.
So if I tell somebody out loud that I'm doing something, I just committed to it, even if I didn't want to.
And it's funny because I committed out loud to people, people who are considered in my close circle, my inner circle, what I was doing, because I had already, like you said, committed myself to it. So I knew I was going to get there, but I wasn't making no major announcements until I actually had gotten there.
Absolutely.
Because those people that I confided in, whether I got there or not, they were still going to love me. They were still going to have my back. They were still going to support me. They wasn't going to look at me like I was a failure just because the thing that I said didn't actually come to fruition. So I was very careful in that way.
And they give you a nudge too.
Yeah.
Hey, what you doing today? You're supposed
And listen,
to
that commitment piece is a real thing, right? So when you commit yourself to a thing or any goal, it's going to take everything you got. So when you make a promise to yourself, in the universe that, all right, this is what I'm going to do, the price you're going to have to pay is everything. But see, and that's what people don't understand.
I'm about to say, people. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand. Like sometimes when you sit there, right, and you're goal oriented, you guys are goal oriented, you achieve things, and someone comes to you and say, "Hey, you want to be a part of this?" And you're like, "You know what, man? Not right now." Like, man, you could do it. I'm like, listen, you don't understand. If I commit to something, I got to give everything I got.
Absolutely.
And am I prepared to give it everything I got? People don't understand. The people that give everything they got, it really takes a lot out on you. For me personally, when I commit to something, especially something like this podcast, it takes a lot out of me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to give it all up. If you're going to really want to make a success out of anything that you set your mind to, right? It can't be a part-time thing, Right. And when I say part-time, like you might have other things that you're doing, right? But when it comes time and for you to give what that situation needs, you got to give 100% right when it needs it, not when, you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because it does take a life of its own on, like when you create something in the world, right? The podcast need to go on at this time and that time. And even if you have something, listen, it's time for the podcast.
It's a different part of the brain for me.
That's right.
It's different. Like when I play sports, you always want to play.
Right.
When you play a video game, you always got time to play if you have time to play.
That's right.
Like you're up. Like you're going to stay up all night and finish whatever you're doing.
Right.
You got to adjust yourself to get in that mind frame, to get in that perspective.
Yeah, that's right.
What type of affirmations are you guys telling yourselves every day to make sure you get up and get out and be strong?
That's a great question right there. The affirmations are important because the greatest story is the one that you tell yourself. Okay? People are going to give you narratives. You're going to hear the media giving you narratives about who you are. But it's the story that you tell yourself, the narrative that you give yourself, that's the most important. So I always, I'm tender with myself. I don't try to be so hard on myself that then I get into some weird funk or depression, because that becomes anti-productive, right? You know what I'm saying? So you always want to be your greatest cheerleader. Gas yourself up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself going. Because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? Who you looking for somebody else?
So what do you say to yourself?
Listen, I'll be like, yo, that's go. You could do it. You could do it, Jay.
Just basic.
Yo, Jay, listen, you are
you got
a powerful
this.
person. You got this. Let's go. Look at what you've accomplished so far. You are the captain of your fate, Let's get it, And I really have to hype myself up on certain days, Like sometimes you roll out of bed, sometimes you jump out of bed, right?
Right.
The thing is to get the hell out of bed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
You know, it's funny because I don't take much for me to get motivated, right? I don't know. I've always been that way. As soon as I say I believe in myself, then I'm going. It's like, okay, boom, let's go. You know, I think the biggest affirmation for me that I have to always remind myself of, because there's days where I feel like, yo, why is this happening? Like, why is this happening to me? And I always got to tell myself, yo, God loves you, bro.
right.
You going to F up. You ain't going to always do things perfectly. You're not going to do things. Sometimes you're just going to be wrong.
Right.
You know, don't let that
Stop you.
Yeah, don't let that stop you.
Yeah.
You know, God loves you. You're going to make mistakes. That don't mean keep trying. You know, you got to go out there and try and be better than
Absolutely.
you were the
And I
day
say it all the
before.
time. Look, God gives everybody $1 million idea, but who's gonna execute on it? It's the 1/10 of 1% that's gonna actually execute on these ideas. Everybody has great ideas. Like God gives that away as a blessing for free every day. Somebody comes up with $1 million idea, but who's gonna actually put the elbow grease behind it and bring it into reality? That's the question.
I think this is my philosophy. Is how I think. I think we have God and the devil inside of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
that's
think-
a
Yeah.
fact.
And I think what side you water reacts first in situations.
What side
So-
you feed?
Yeah.
So the God in you, if a shootout happens in this room, the God in you might slow down and process, or the devil in you might retaliate right away. Right. Like it just, or you might have been the person to escalate the situation. The God in you makes decisions, and the devil in you makes decisions. But if you go places where the devil thrives, your devil side might take
Yeah.
over.
There you
So
go.
I think we all have it. I think it's all a crapshoot in how you develop yourself in the dark. So you just got to be careful. So I definitely agree. Some of the affirmations I tell myself is that I just say, God, please continue to guide my steps. This way, I'm not making any provisions. I understand that God, hey, if I'm here, I'm supposed to be.
Right.
And I know you, and then after that, I have to take care of it, because what your diligent work will put you in a position where you're supposed to be.
Right.
You always where you're supposed to be, but how you're there.
Right.
Either you're the janitor or the president.
Right.
Because of the interim of your work ethic. That's what I believe. That's what helps me get through the day.
Right. Absolutely.
How early did you guys start goal setting? Do you guys remember the first time you set a goal and achieved it?
I was young. Yeah, I was
third
young.
grade or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me hear.
Second,
We want to
third
hear the
grade.
story. For those listening right now, this is SOULutions For Men's podcast, and we're going to get to some really deep business talk after this. But I really want to talk about you guys' first time setting a goal and achieving. No matter how minute the story is, someone's listening right now. Who's
Oh, I
never
got a
set
good
goal.
story. Let me tell a
Yeah,
good
go
story,
ahead.
okay? You know, we all grow up wanting to be. It's funny when you come from our neighborhood, right? You don't think it's I don't want to say it's a shame,
Yeah.
but to some extent it is that we aspire to sports and entertainment, right? And I mean, I love hip hop, bro. I grew up on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a lot of people. And so at a very young age, you know, I wanted to be an MC. I had my notebook. You know, I used to write my rhymes, and that was tough. Me and my boys, we had a little group. We was tough with it. You know what I mean? But that's not the story. The story is also too, like I wanted to be a ball player, and I'm undersized. But I'm only 5'8". So imagine at 12 years old, I'm like barely 5 foot.
Right.
You know, but I wanted to be out there on the court, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, like I used to work on my game, work on my handles, work on my jump shot. But, you know, at my size, I couldn't, I mean, I have long arms, but I don't have the height to really get up and yam it.
Right.
So I
No
remember just working on my hops, and it was one summer. I might have been my junior year in high school, maybe my junior or senior year in high school. And I got my man Mill he was a witness, not Millard. I know I'm thinking of Mill. I got another homie named Mill back home. So we was working as camp counselors at the YMCA.
Yeah.
Right. They had like a summer camp for kids, and they had a gym at the Y. So that whole summer, I was just working on trying to dunk it. And I was getting so close, like just getting pinned on the rim.
Sprite commercials.
But every day, yeah, it was crazy because my boy Mill, because Mill played ball.
Right.
And he was on the team. He played on the high school team. He was one of the stars of the team. He was already in. He was like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3". So he looking at me like, look at this little dude try to dunk,
Right.
you know. But I just kept going. And then one day, I don't know what it was. I just felt it. I was like, yo, today is the day.
Right.
Because I feel like my bunnies was like, I was like, this is going to happen. It's going to happen today.
Right.
Right. And I kept telling Mill, I was like, yo, it's going, just keep watching me.
Yeah.
Because I feel it is coming. Right. And not long after I said it, I think like my second or third try, I got that good running start.
Right.
Got that nice bounce on the ball.
Right.
It came all the way up and got up and yammed it. And my man Mill was like, yo, I can't believe, because at the time I was only like 5'6",
Right.
5'7".
Right.
I don't even think I finished growing. And he's like, yo, dude, you just don't a regulation court.
Wow.
Your little 5'7" ass just don't do it.
Crazy.
Like, that's crazy, because mine was blown, and I'm so thankful that he was there, because I could tell the story without ever having to worry about whether people believe me or not. You know, like, so it's like, yo, I had witnesses.
A witness to it.
Witness is super important, especially when you grow up in a place where everybody always checking your shirt tag and checking your receipts.
But you know what? I felt superhuman when it happened.
Right.
You know, it's like we get these moments where we feel like, yo, like, this wasn't just your average physical feat. Like, yo, I had to tap into that God energy.
Region,
where I was like, yeah, I'm about to go super Saiyan on them right now, because I'm about to dunk this basketball. And it happened.
Belief in willpower. Absolutely. Belief in willpower.
Yeah, belief in willpower. Absolutely. Yeah, I think when I was in like the 3rd grade, I was always like an introverted kid. And you know, I always drew, and I had like, you know, a lot of creative skills. And then they would have this annual storytelling contest in like the 3rd grade. And I was just like, you know what? I think I could do that, because I saw like one of my homegirls, she had done it and won, and I was like, you know, I think I could do that. And I focused my energy in, and for like 6 months, I had to memorize an entire book, right? Like, you know, a children's book or whatever, and then, you know, recite it back to the class or the auditorium. And so worked at it, and I didn't think I had it right. I was still making mistakes, but the day of the show, I locked in, you know, recited, and I kind of went into some weird meditative state, I think, and I just was hitting it, you know what I'm saying, hitting all the lines, the inflections, and I won 1st place, you know what I'm saying, the storytelling contest, 3rd grade, man.
That's what's up, man. Congratulations. Hey, that's important, man. Those moments of conquest are important.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in kindergarten, they wanted me to set the table, so they taught me how to set the table all week for the pageant. So I finally got up there. I set the whole table. I did it right. But then and then right when it was over, I stepped to the right and bowed, like did a bow, and I banged my head on the table. Wow. It's actually on video, on a VHS tape. You know what I'm saying? Those priceless moments. So here we are. We got you coming from Booston, hanging out with your friends, having a good time. Your grandfather rears you in. Your grandmother rears you in. You seeing what's happened to your homeboy. You got an inspired cousin that's doing great things in this world. Right. You got 20 to 30 homies showing you the way. You got little attributes from your father and everything. For the person you are today, for the people you are today, for the fathers, husbands, brothers, what did you sacrifice?
Man, you know, you got to sacrifice that part of you that wants you to fail. Right. I just feel like there's always, like you said, the God and the devil is in you. Right. And it's always that negative voice that you could choose to listen to. You could turn it off. And I think the biggest sacrifice is letting that person go and moving forward with confidence and just letting that insecurity go. So the biggest sacrifice I made was just telling that negative voice, you know what I'm saying? You got to get out of here, man. You got to die.
Oh, man, I'm going to touch on that. But let me hear that while I'm going to touch on that also.
You know, for me, and this might be a little unconventional thought, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. So for me, the biggest sacrifice is being away from your family. And I say that in the sense that it's not a bad thing as a man to have to go out and be away from your family to make things happen. And a lot of times we get into relationships where I think the roles get blurred, and there's this notion that the man has got to be in the house. Like if he's not in the house, then he's out running the streets or doing something like he's not supposed to be doing. But it seems like it's encouraged and promoted that a man be home more, and I'm like, I see it the exact opposite. Like, the man has to be out. Yeah. He's got to get out there and make something happen in society.
Right.
So that his kids, and then bring it home. and have somebody, a spouse who supports that and understands that as that's your role. Like, you ain't, because I hear a lot of arguments, a lot of relationships go sour because it's like, you ain't never here, you're not paying no attention to me, and you always doing X, Y, Z, and you ain't never home, and that's why, and I'm going, you should want your man not to be home. You should want him out there making a way so that he can bring home something that you can, that you can appreciate and value. So
both of y'all answers tie together. What you have to realize is that you're talking about what you said. It was like an off answer, not popular.
Yeah.
It's exactly the answer to the question he gave. We go all the way back to where we spoke about 80% of our households is raised by a woman, right? So which means that we are lacking some of the manly attributes, and we had to learn how to let some of the things that we learn from our feelings, which can't carry a man to society, go in order and step out and have a purpose. When a man has a purpose, he can bring everything else in.
Right.
I think the purpose is more important. I believe in many scriptures or any type of religion we're talking about, it says work the land first.
Right.
Right? And that, what you guys both said, I think it ties together. Even for me, anecdotally, when I speak about my mother being such a caring person, when I step forth as a man outside, I can't care and save everyone.
Right.
But that's a nurturing mindset. Some of that nurturing mindset must die in order for me to build.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I have to leave out to build it.
Right.
Even if it's leaving my kid behind inside the house where that nurturing, oh man, I'm leaving my kid. But the future holds better for him to sit behind a castle than the shed that I left him in.
That's right. And I mean, listen, that's gender roles too, right? Because you're not gonna out nurture a woman, man. I mean, you're not gonna be a better mother as a father. You just, you know what I'm saying? It just won't happen that way. We just almost are not built that way, right? So when my kids were like really small, 3, 4, 5, 6, they didn't really need me as much, you know what I'm saying, as they do now that they're 20, 30, 40, and they need someone to teach them about the world that they're living in, right? So I think my job, right, is to take them from teenagers to adulthood and teaching them how things go in the actual world. And then their mother's job is to increase that loving, that empathy, and that spirituality in them as well, you know? So that's why it's a yin and yang thing, and that's why you got to have both parts. But I don't think no one parent can do both jobs, and I'm not even trying to do that job, you know what I'm saying? Let me get good at my job, which is making sure I bring home the bacon and I teach my kids how to navigate this world, and then you do your job with the nurturing, the spirituality, and some other things, you know what I'm saying? And then we both overlap at times. You know
I got the balance. That's the balance.
Yeah, exactly. I say this all the time. I say women are the greatest incubators. You give them something, they multiply to make it better.
I'm telling you, superior creatures.
Yeah, when they talk about what you bring into the table, right? A man has to have a table first, whether it's a desk or a large table.
Right.
When it gets to whatever woman decides to take that table on, it's going to be decorated.
Yeah,
it's gonna look
that's
nice.
right.
It's going to be neat, or it could be to have stains on it. Depends on what type of woman you got, because every woman is not taught to be a woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and every man is not taught to be a man. It's on both sides of the fence.
Right.
Let's get into some real talk. What we have in front of me right now, I know you guys are listening, and we check it out on video. Absolutely. We have Buffalo Boss here.
B-Boss.
BB.
Yes.
So we have the owners of Buffalo Boss here, and I'm going to let them explain what Buffalo Boss is, the history, the franchise, where we are now, and where it started. Let's get some of this information going. Who is going to talk first?
Yeah, so you
Start with the man.
go ahead. You want to talk about the hand now, then I'll take it back.
Well, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to edify you a little bit. Then I'm going to let you do what you got.
Word of the day, edify.
Yeah, that's a big one right there.
Yeah. You know, this man had a vision, and I've known him for going on close to 20 years. But I known him before the vision actually came into manifestation, and it was just an idea, you know. And I saw him just keep going, you know what I'm saying? And at the time, you know, I wanted to just be like the village does. I wanted to be supportive.
Right.
I said, oh man, you know, they say, you heard Jamar opened up a wing spot down on Fulton Street. Yeah, you gotta go check it out. I said, yeah, definitely.
Fulton Street, where for those listening around?
Where was
the
that?
world?
Right off of
Yeah, that was 554 Fulton. It's now closed down because they tore the building down.
It's where?
Flatbush in Brooklyn. Flatbush, Fulton, and 554 Fulton
In the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the U.S. in Brooklyn. Yeah. Come on, New York, Brooklyn. Yes, sir.
You know, so I mean, I went down there just to support, right? And just so, like most people who come to Buffalo Balls and have Buffalo Balls for the first time, it only took that one experience. I was like, yo, this is this is not just your average wing. Like, what's going on here? Like, I was just like,
right.
yo, my man got the keys right here. Like, this is the secret sauce.
Yeah.
You know, so it was at that point I was like, and I saw the brand. I mean, like, listen, he's not just in the wing space. He's in the brand space. You know what I mean? I'm sure those are keys he got from his cousin.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is his brand. And so when I came to Jamar and I said to him, I said, listen, I want to be a part of this. And I don't like I tell, like we spoke about earlier, if I'm going to say it, it's because I mean it. It's not because, I've already thought it through. I thought about my own situation and how I can contribute. And so, you know, when I brought it to him, I didn't just say, you know, like, I wasn't just like, you know, shooting the shit with him and just trying to get him to buy in a whole lot of talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, listen, I can do certain things with my money to get this thing off the ground and try and take it to another level.
And to Anwar's credit, a lot of people always come to me interested in the brand. I'm going to do a Buffalo Boss, this, that, and the other thing. Now, this brother actually came to the table, had the funds, and he was literally ready to go. And that's what impressed me about Anwar. Like, I seen him grow up. We've known each other for over a decade. And he's always been impressive, always been a guy who has realized his dreams and has had the courage to, like, you know, go out into the world. Like, we were in the States and he was in Dubai. He was like, yo, in Dubai 10 years ago. Like,
Right.
what?
Let me ask you this question, Anwar, then we can continue on this Buffalo Boss journey.
Yeah.
The part of you saving your money, did you know there was something for you out there that you were waiting to invest in, or you just had a vision that one day you'll be in a business?
No, I knew there was something that was waiting for me, you know. And I always, you know, I look at how growing up, and we all know how finance is not something that's part of the curriculum in schools. And I came up in a fairly decent school system, and I realized what some of the pitfalls and shortcomings were in that school system. It wasn't all great, it wasn't all bad, you know what I'm saying? But it made me who I am. But I could clearly see that there were some shortcomings to my education. And I was like, man, like, if I had these skill sets or these tools when I was younger, like, my situation might be different. But I mean, I didn't dwell on that. I said, I'm just going to go ahead and moving forward, I'm going to set some goals, some financial goals. You know, because I remember I messed up. I messed up my credit. I didn't know nothing about credit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody taught me a damn thing about credit.
None of
so
us did.
they preyed on me. You know, I remember they preyed on me in college. They was giving out credit cards and all. You know, like
Giving them away.
High
they was
APRs.
giving away, right? Like and I ain't know any better. They was like, yeah, you can get a balance of this much, you know, $2,000, $3,000 for somebody in college. It's like, yeah, you gonna give.
Yeah,
me,
we ordering pizza every
yeah,
night.
right.
You want some Pizza Hut? I got you.
Right.
Want some Buffalo Boss? I got
Exactly.
you.
Yeah.
So I fell victim to that, and it wasn't until I tried to go out and obtain other assets like property that I realized, I'm really in the negative here. I'm severely in the red. I gotta figure this thing out, sort this thing out if I'm going to be able to be the kind of man that I had always imagined myself to be, which was a provider and a protector of the family. So I had to situate myself. I had to reposition myself, get all my stuff back in order, and then find what it was that I wanted to do. I said, I know I wanted to own a business. I wanted to own real estate. I wanted to have some intellectual property. You know, I wanted to be able to do, you know, just, you know, move my eggs in different baskets.
Right.
What made me decide on Buffalo Boss was, again, I looked at what Jamar achieved, and it seemed like a very short amount of time. And it was special to a lot of people because you don't see a lot of us have an idea, you know, and have this brand idea and be able to bring it into fruition the way that he did and to have the kind of success that he has. And I mean, he's really just scratching the surface. Right. You know, it's like he hasn't really gotten to where he truly wants to be, you know. And so
Still on the journey.
Yeah, it's still on the journey. So
let me ask this question real quick. And
Yeah.
I love the fact that you answered it like that and you was into it. You was like, hey, I got to be a part of this because I have good energy too. Take me back to the beginning where you thought of Buffalo Boss, and you know where we are from. Everybody clowns everything.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure, like, you want to do wings? What?
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Get out here with the wings, bro.
And I know I've heard a lot of people say, they'll scream your failures and whisper your successes.
There you go, ladies.
And so
you hear that, Jim?
Yeah. And so that's a big deal, because we see it way too often.
Oh, it happens a lot. Trust
Right.
me. And then
from the closest people,
Yeah.
the people that we say we know and love,
Right.
They'll be the first ones to tell you
that is a deep conversation that all creatives and people striving have. Like,
right.
where is the love for me? You give love to strangers, but
Right.
not the person next to you.
Yeah.
And I think it's our community operating from a place of fear. So everybody's so scared to fail, and they want to laugh at you if you're the courageous one to go out, and that's that part of you that you got to let die. Because that fear wants to keep you safe and not moving.
Tell me
right?
when you came up with this idea that Anwar said, "Oh man, everybody's proud of it." But I know, for me being a creator, I know most creators, when you come up with something, the vision is there.
Right.
That vision was for you. Like you said, God gives out $1 million ideas all the time. So that $1 million idea came to you, and no one else. Now you got to convince people that this is manifestation. Is real. Talk to me about those early stages.
Take us back to where it all started.
Right, and I think what happened was when I first came up with the concept of the Buffalo Boss. When I first came up with the concept of
You need to take the call?
No, sorry.
It's so good, man. We got editing out here.
Okay, good. No, that's fine. Sorry about that. Okay. So when I first came up with the idea, a lot of people were just like, well, you don't know about restaurants. You never had a restaurant before and this, that. And, it's always like, oh, you never did it before, so why start it? Well, before Steve Jobs, started Apple, he never had a software company. He never had a computer company. You got to start somewhere, right? Yeah. But I did take some of the good advice, and they were just like, well, find somebody who has some experience, And so I found my first partner, and he had experience with the restaurants and stuff. And so we came together on the sauces. He taught me a little bit about running a restaurant in the industry. And then from there, we started tweaking it and building on it, right? So, you take the good, and then you kind of leave the bad alone. Like, I wasn't going to stop just because I didn't have one. And I knew that I wanted to bring our version of a wing spot to the space, right? So I saw all these old white guys building these wing spots in America, right? And I'm saying, well, we have a culture that everybody loves, hip-hop culture. We invent all the music in America. We are the tastemakers in America, but we never capitalize off the stuff that we bring from our culture, right? So you go to every neighborhood, you find a Chinese food spot, you find an Italian spot, but we're the soul food spots, you know what I'm saying? It'll be a few entrepreneurs here and there. So I said, listen, we're gonna merge the wings and the culture together, and we're gonna create like a hip hop wing concept. And people were just like, yo, all right, well, you have your naysayers, but then you have people who see the vision and just like, yo, this could work. Now make it work, right? Now the work starts, right? So first location happens, right? We get a lot of press on it. Everybody's digging the vibe. And then before you know it, we were approached by the Barclays Arena, This might be a good fit for the Barclays, right? So, we did all the interviews we got in there. And then, we just started stepping it up. And it's been challenges all along the way. But my thing is I'm just not going to quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what you throw at me on a daily basis. As long as I don't stop, this thing will continue to live. And now we're here in Dubai.
And I got to say that is what inspires me. So if I'm going to point to one singular person that has put that battery in my back, it is Jamar. Because, I can always look to how he moves and say, well, this is how I have to be moving. I have to move exactly how he moves because he's not going to stop. Like this is what he does.
Right.
And this is who he is. And,
absolutely.
And he's given me license to be a part of that. I have to, in essence, just like when it's like the Matrix when Agent Smith when he went put his hand through somebody and then they changed it to Agent Smith, right?
Yeah.
Now you got 1,000 Agent Smiths running around.
Right.
So I kind of look at it like, yo, Jamar he's put that hand in me,
right?
And he's changing me he's charged me up to be like him.
I will not lose.
Yeah, and that's it. And then listen, when I created the concept, it wasn't a selfish concept. From day one, I said I'm gonna franchise this thing out. Before I even had my first location, I was like, nah, this is gonna be a franchise because one thing that my cousin says, and he said it in a rap song as well, that just made that always stuck with me. He said, if every nigga in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged. No one will fall because everyone will be each other's crutches, right? Think about how deep that is. You know what I'm saying? If I make you a millionaire and you a millionaire, if something happens to me on any given day, I can come to my peoples, you know? And so with the restaurant industry and how franchising works, we all can be our own bosses, but yet still be working towards the singular goal of moving that brand forward.
Absolutely.
You know?
So let me ask you this question. Because usually when we're in the creative space, someone comes up to you that you didn't expect, that tried whatever you drew, whatever you make, whatever you eat. Give me a story for both of you where someone came and said, hey, man, I had those wings, or hey, man, you touched me out of nowhere. Give me the story of who was that person? Like, wow, I can't believe that I impressed you.
Right. Man, I mean, I kind of get that on like a daily, weekly basis when people try to fool.
But someone that surprised you. It doesn't have to be a celebrity or anything. It's just a person that you didn't think was coming.
Oh, okay. That got to be my mean Uncle Andre. So let me give you a story about Uncle Andre. He's like Mr. Curmudgeon. You know what I'm saying? You always got that uncle in the family, super negative, telling you can't do this, that, the other thing. This was actually the uncle that told Jay-Z he needs to stop rhyming.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Jay talks about the same
records.
Uncle Andre. And he was just like, yeah, man, you doing restaurants? You know, and so very negative guy. But one day when he came to the opening.
Shout out to Uncle Andre.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle Andre.
Shout out to Uncle Andre.
We all know you.
My haters motivate. You know what I'm
I
saying?
sold
Like,
a
and I
million
know you
records
love
about
me,
a million
man.
times.
Yeah.
And so when he came to the opening of the first Buffalo Boss restaurant and everybody was there and he finally saw the vision, man. And then when he tried the wings, you know what I'm saying? He just pulled me aside. He was like, yeah, these all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't gonna give you the whole, like, that coming from Uncle Andre was like the best compliment in the world. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing it in his face that he was quietly impressed, you know what I'm saying? And he gave me that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, these all right, man. These are good.
What about you, man?
For me, okay, so we have 2 store managers, right? One of them I've known for over 9 years. You know, I came to the UAE as an educator, as a teacher, right? And
During the glory years.
yeah. It was they were glory years. Yeah, I ain't gonna go into that, but you definitely right. They was glory years for sure. That's what kept me here this long. Now it's funny because the glory years is over. It's like it's time to pack up and go. But we still love the UAE. Yeah, we definitely. But so I worked one of the security guards at my school from Uganda. His name is Benson, right? He and I we developed a pretty tight bond, and Ben was good with everybody at the job. So, it was good to talk to somebody who comes from a completely different background and experience as you, but to be able to find some common ground. So when we started throwing around the idea of doing Buffalo Boss in Dubai, I was thinking like, who is the most trustworthy person I can think of? Because I knew there was going to come a time where, I would be back in the States looking to open up more Buffalo Bosses. Jamar would be back in the States. And we needed to have somebody here in Dubai that we knew that we could put our full faith in, that they were going to do everything possible. That we needed a high character individual to help run the restaurant
day
to day.
Absolutely.
And so Ben is somebody who's doesn't come from the restaurant space or background, but neither do I.
Right.
And Jamar said, no, look, we can train him. He's going to develop and he's going to get those skills to be a quality restaurant manager. But we needed somebody who's high character
First,
right? And somebody
high
that
integrity.
High integrity. And so that was him. But I just want to throw that out there because I convinced him to leave security after he's been in security longer than I was in education.
Wow.
And take a step out on faith and come join us in Buffalo Boss, and he did that. And so I got a lot of love and appreciation for him being able to do that. But to your question, Ben is from Uganda. There ain't no buffalo wings in Uganda.
Wow.
There's no, the American comfort foods that we're used to. He's not used to it.
Right.
Right. So when we first got the kitchen open, and Jamar was showing us how to make the sauces and how to fry the chicken, the wings to get the crispiness, how to marinate the whole process, right? When we finished, I can't remember, maybe it was the mild wings or was the better than dynamite shrimp? I can't remember what it was.
Definitely the mild wings. He loved
it must
those.
have went.
Yeah.
But his reaction because like, and I'm going like, I didn't think that, because I know how I am with other nationalities' cuisine.
Yeah, the palate.
Yeah, the palate is different, right?
Yeah,
with the palate translate.
Yeah.
And so he took a bite, and his face lit up. He was just like, oh,
he's like, oh wow.
Yeah, he said, oh wow,
man.
yeah,
Sir.
oh my
wow.
God,
right.
That's what I knew.
Yeah,
that's what I knew. I said, oh, we got something.
Yeah,
we got something, because here's a guy who's never eaten this kind of food before. And he was completely mind blown.
Yeah,
like, this is special.
Right, absolutely.
Tell us where exactly the store is located in Dubai.
So
230 Jamira
Road.
Street, Jamira 1, Dubai.
Yeah, we're like 2 blocks away from the Lamur area, which is that whole beachfront district where they got the amusement park over there. Yeah. We're about 2 blocks away from City Walk.
Yeah, on the main strip.
Yeah,
over there.
right on that
absolutely.
main strip. A block away from the beach.
Yep.
A block away from the beach, about 10 minutes away from Dubai. Downtown Mall, about 10 minutes away from Business Bay. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been to this restaurant.
Please come check us out.
Right.
I've been to this
Check us out
restaurant.
on Taliban.
I seen the gold chains.
Yeah.
Check them out on Taliban. We're going to talk about Taliban in a minute. I seen the gold chains. When I walked in, they didn't know I went. I went on
gazelles?
covert.
Did you see the gazelles
I seen the
too?
gazelles. I seen the
Okay.
gazelles. I went on covert ops. I went there. I didn't want y'all to know I was going.
Nice.
But I walked in. Let me tell you what happened when I walked in.
Okay.
They were playing Big Pun.
Ooh, big
And I'm
fun.
from the Bronx, so I was like, "Oh, I'm here, Boricua, I was feeling it.
Nice.
And I got my French fries and my wings. Me and my son and my wife, we ate and we enjoyed it. And we went back for more.
Wow.
And we supposed to be on the diet, so Buffalo Boss, she threw herself our diet.
Yeah,
For
we
a
had to
little
do
bit.
that. We had to do that.
We tell folks,
Sorry
listen,
about that.
this is we do pure comfort food.
That's
fun
right.
food.
Fun food, baby.
We don't expect you to eat us 7 days out the week. That
That's
might
right.
not be good for your health, but
Right.
when you've met your goals,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's
your
right.
your workout goals and your
Nah,
diet
pull
goals,
up and get you,
eat
man.
more,
You can eat this
come
food.
Get you a
Yeah,
6
that's your
piece.
It's good for
Reward.
you, man. It's definitely good for you. It's good food.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's definitely good food.
What have y'all procrastinated on and why?
And that's
That's
something
a-
I gotta
yeah.
take some time with that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you asking me to unpack some things, I might not be ready to unpack right now.
And I think it's really about whatever you're weakest on, right? So when it comes to vision and going out and physically doing things, I lend myself to that more than some paperwork type aspects. You know what I'm saying? And with every business, you got to do the paperwork. You got to mind the numbers and these type of things. And so I guess when it comes to looking at some of my sheets and my formulas, you know what I'm saying, I'm a little slow to that, but I try not to put things off too long because the procrastination, man, that'll get you, you know what I'm saying?
Get
So
you.
you got to be careful with it. But yeah, those type of things I kind of procrastinate
I
on.
definitely listen. I have procrastination too. Sometimes I don't feel like editing these things.
Right.
It takes a lot. It just takes a lot. Then you got to wait for it to edit. And what are we doing here?
Rendering
5 hours?
time.
Yeah, 5 hours, and you don't know if people are going to even watch or listen. You don't
Right.
know. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to build something, but you don't know what you're really.
That's
When
right.
you put it out in the universe, you don't know if it's going to be received.
Uh-huh.
You just know that you gave your all doing it.
That's it.
Did you unpack anything, or you want to hear?
No,
the
yeah, I
next?
did actually. For me, it's just about being able to strike when the opportunity presents itself, and sometimes I'll have a lot of great ideas, and I'll just let them fester. Like they say, study long, study wrong. Right. And I might overanalyze
Perfectionist.
the idea. Yeah, it's like that. That's my biggest. That's probably my biggest. That causes the biggest procrastination for me. Is that it's like, am I doing this the right way? Like, okay, maybe I should just stop for a second, take a
Right.
step back and look at it. And I
And
might
if
sit
he's
there
super
looking.
dope and super ready. He won't let it go.
right.
And
That
the
is that's
paralysis
me,
sets
right?
in.
I know a
that's
lot
it.
of
The
me-
paralysis sets in.
I know a lot of musicians like that. They have this great song.
Yeah,
They just like, nah, we can't put it out. We got to do some more stuff to it.
Right.
It doesn't need anything
Yeah,
else.
it doesn't need
It is
anything else.
ready. You're
Right.
ready. What are you
Right.
scared of? I don't know. You think you're scared of success or you scared of failure more? Which one is topsy-turvy for you?
I think it might be the failure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's the that fear of failure. They say
Is it a failure, though, if you created something and actually gave something to the world? Is that a failure?
no, it's not, and that's what I've been
Wrestling with.
wrestling with and telling myself that it's not as you can never, if anything that you have that started out as just an idea in the mind, you know what I'm saying, and it was just it was a vision, and you actually took that vision and you brought it into reality, then no, it's not a failure. Whether people receive it or not,
Right.
that's another thing.
And that's out of your hands anyway.
Right.
You have no control over it. I try not to worry about stuff I don't have control over.
Right.
Because then that also becomes another thing that slows you down or paralyzes you. It's just like, oh, but what if. Listen, put it in the universe's hands, man. Do your part and do it to the most excellent, way, to the best of your ability. And then after that, you got to let it go. And you got to let, the universe take it in and take over.
All right, guys. So we got a few more questions, and I'm gonna get you guys out of there and go hold you too much longer. Okay.
we
That's
good,
all right,
we
man.
good.
We're having
You
a great
guys
time.
Enjoying this, right?
All right. So this next question is very intrusive, so you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
Wow,
It's
scary.
it's a
Nervous.
two-part question.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Two-part question. What was abusive to you that you thought was love? That's the first part.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a heavy one.
Listen, growing up in the hood, shoot, every damn relationship, man, you got that toxicness.
You got to
that-
break it down to detail.
Yeah,
Give us one thing.
I don't know. Like I would love when a woman we would argue. Like I thought that was love. Like for some reason, I would just
I think that's
That
a New
ain't
York
me.
thing.
yeah, it got to
Yeah,
be a
that
New
must
York
be,
thing.
'cause
Like
I was-
nah,
I was-
until
I
we
wasn't
get
with
into
any
it,
of
I
that.
don't know whether you really love me. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Fight with me a little bit.
That's a
and
New York
some
thing. I
toxic
think I had
man.
to let that go too.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, that's the stuff.
I used
you
to
definitely
smile
gotta
too.
let
I
go.
used to think it was like, yeah, she loves me.
Yeah, that's right. She loved me. She almost ripped my face off.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. She really loves me.
Absolutely. How long did it take for you to accept it?
As a toxic trait.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you ruin enough relationships with it. You're just like, all right, well, this.
When
is
did you
not
recognize
okay. Damn, man, that had to be like in college, I think maybe. You go through enough of those scenarios where you be like, hold up, this ain't right. I keep doing the same thing, meeting the same type of woman, acting the same way, and it's not working out.
Then you
So-
find out Jamar loved the drama.
Yeah, well,
Common denominator.
Yeah,
Common
man.
denominator is you if it's more than
yeah,
twice.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's right. I'm starting to fight.
Jamar.
So I learned to listen more. I learned to listen more and talk less.
Absolutely. Hey, that's a gem. Listen
Yeah.
more, talk less. What about you, Anwar?
I don't know if I've ever confused the two. I pretty much knew abuse when I seen it, so I never really conflated it with love. So it's hard for me to say,
I could challenge you on that.
Okay.
Because you loved hanging out with your homies,
True.
and no matter what they was doing, you loved the camaraderie.
Right. But
could have
see,
been
but see,
abusive.
I don't know if they were consciously being abusive to me. We were all just
But that
lost,
doesn't matter.
We were
That-
just
that was
lost
still
boys.
abuse,
That
though,
doesn't
bro.
matter.
Yeah, it's true. We were lost boys,
Right.
and we just thought, yeah, you're right. That's probably it right there.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And just those relationships, and I still have a lot of those relationships because a lot of those same
gotta have 'em.
friends, right? They've evolved just like I did.
Right.
Some did, some didn't. And even the ones that really didn't, I still got love
I
for,
love
even
'em.
though I gotta love
I
them
love
from
all
a
my
distance.
homies. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Right.
but you're right. So I would say, needing that validation from I guess my friends because I wasn't getting it at home,
See-
and then thinking that I should be able to take whatever was being dished to me
Yeah.
because they had to care enough about me to want to even be in my presence and hang out with me.
right.
So just take whatever it comes with the territory. You know what I mean? Even like you said, if it was toxic
Negative.
or not.
You know what comes? The good thing that comes out of that you can stand in that abuse and function. So if I need to go back into that anything that was abusive and function and try to talk somebody, not pull them out because I can't make anybody do anything.
Yeah.
But to word myself the correct way to speak to somebody in that dysfunction, I can always go back into it.
That's right, because you've been there.
Because I've been there. That's the only thing for those who don't understand it or have been in abusive situations, whether it's whatever abuse your mind goes to. It could be physical abuse, mental,
mental,
whatever you're going through. If someone's there with you to pull you out, then listen, because blessings come through people. In my
Right.
opinion.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, so let's get to Mills's question.
Yeah, Mills.
Okay,
Shout out to Mills.
Now, Mills asked a tough question. Now, you don't usually ask these kind of questions on the show, but this is special for you two.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it because
Okay.
I made
Okay.
sure I
Get it
wrote it
right.
down for y'all.
Yeah,
Get it right.
Mills, this is for you.
Millie Mills.
What's the
Millie
difference
Mill.
between being Muslim here and in the States?
Oh man, that's easy because I'm fresh. I'm
Yeah.
fresh out the hellfire over there, boy. I think it's easier to be Muslim here, right? Because one thing that Anwar pointed out, he said, so back at home, your Islamic life lives in the masjid, right? In the house of worship, right? But out in the general society, it's not there, right? So the center of community life is in the masjid. But here, the center of community life is the community because it's a Muslim country. So you hear the adhan being called. It's easier to pray. It's easier to just be who you are without any distraction or anything. Whereas in the States, you have to really fight for your identity. You have to be telling, well, I'm Muslim, I'm this, that. You got to like fight for your identity.
For your space.
Yeah, in your space. Whereas here, what I'm saying, it's real easy. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much easier being Muslim here, obviously.
Yeah, and I would say, Islam in America, most people who come to Islam have come to Islam on their own. They looked at what was going on around them and in society, and they started to think about, the Creator's, his footprint on creation.
Yeah.
And so we come to a decision about Islam usually in America. It's like either I'm gonna be Muslim or not be. Whether you was raised up in it or not, right. The greater society is gonna make you have to make a choice.
Yeah, that's right.
About whether or not you want to be Muslim or not. Whereas here, it's a lot more traditional. It's like my father was Muslim. My grandfather was Muslim. My great grandfather was Muslim.
It's
like,
easy.
This is easy for me. Like this is who we are, and this is what we do. This is how we believe.
Yeah.
So I would say that I don't know, and sometimes you see that taken for granted here, because it becomes more like something you can take on and off, like a coat. Mm-hmm. Like when I go home, I hang up my Islam, and then maybe like a lot of, especially these younger generations, they get involved in all kind of things that really go against the religion itself. Right. Whereas back home, it's like, okay, we've been raised up in the hellfire, so
and you constantly fighting for your identity.
You're constantly fighting for your identity, so you can never take it off.
Yeah.
It's like you as soon as you have it and it's in your heart, it's like, no, this is who I am.
Right.
And then so we take that and we try and carry that with us outside of the masjid.
So I'm not going to dive too much into the religion, but I'd seen things growing up as a kid in New York or different cities where there were always, like you said, fighting for your space. Right. There were always villages where religions were free to operate in cultures, especially in Brooklyn. You got the Jewish community where they in full outfits. They got their own section.
Straight up.
In Manhattan, they have their own. Chinatown, they have their own religion, their own things. Mm-hmm. And then when I was growing up, there were a lot of things that were 5%ers, different religions that just came up, and people would join.
Out of Islam,
out of Islam, the things is joining and coming up and being a part of. You said the freedom of everyone praying over here, and you think you ever see that in the States where it's time to pray? I'm pulling out my prayer blanket. Anywhere in city, wherever you from in America, you just start praying right there. Because, some people see that as like, what are you doing?
A threat.
Yeah, well, it's anti...
I didn't think about that. Some people see it as a threat.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, because it's a secular society. So they're anti any religion in America. You understand? Except the religion of capitalism and these sort of things,
Deep. That's deep.
Yeah, and so they don't want you practicing nothing in public spaces. They don't want you really, doing any of that. They kind of want to separate. They want to make it like religious life is like a separate activity as opposed to who you are.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Let me take it a little deeper.
Yeah.
You said capitalist, right?
Yeah.
So years ago, I was with a friend, a lady, and I was like, hey, do you do yoga? She said, I don't play with anyone's religion.
Right.
Right? And I didn't really think about yoga
as being a religion.
As a religious practice.
But when I did some research.
Yeah.
Wow.
But in a park in any city, you can do yoga and get paid and do a class.
Yeah.
So the capitalist society of it,
right, absolutely,
deems it okay if there's money flowing.
Well,
that's right.
Look at what Christmas is in the Western culture.
Yeah.
Right. It's got absolutely nothing to do with religion whatsoever. Like they've removed religion like entirely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is all about the spirit of
Absolutely.
gift giving, and it's just that, and it's
Kwanzaa, all those
things.
but it's also economic cycle.
That's right.
And I learned a long time ago, all of the major holidays in America is not based on the significance of the holiday itself. It's a capitalist flow.
That's right.
How are we going to get this money to continue to flow?
That's America's religion,
Right,
there.
that's America's
And even
religion.
if you look at how they corrupted Christianity in America by making it such a business, you know what I'm saying? The televangelist, excessive tithing, and all this other stuff, man. This is why that form of Christianity flourishes. You know what I'm saying? The prosperity preaching, because it's pushing capitalism once again. So that's America's religion. So anything else is always going to be, secondary to it.
Absolutely. We ain't going to touch that no more.
I got a little political.
No. We can get political. I just, we're going to dive in it. And Mills, thank you for the question, brother. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mills.
Shout out Mills.
All right, let's talk about this. Talk to me about fatherhood. Yeah. But not just any father. Talk about me when you like your kids. You love your kids, but I don't like them right now.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me about the patience you need to have as a father.
That.
Listen, I have adult children. My youngest is 20 years old, and I have 5 kids, 4 girls, 1 boy. And it's different stages of their development, right? So when they're toddlers, even when they're preteens, man, they are obedient. They mostly listen to you. And but when that transition comes to going into adulthood, right? What I had to learn from the elders teaching me was that you go from managing their lives to consulting their lives. And so what that means is you can't tell them what to do anymore. And then you have to let them and watch them make their mistakes and then be there for them. So if you go around that corner, you're going to get hit over the head. Like, don't go over that corner. You try to grab them up, please. You can't grab them up. They're doing their walk, and you got to let them go around that corner and get hit on the head.
Yeah.
And then when they come after they got hit on the head, I got hit on the head. I told them. But now you got to help the wound, throw a little ice on it and stuff like that. So that has been a challenging transition. Yeah, that's been a challenging transition for me and my wife, and just learning how to navigate that new space. With having adult children. And you guys probably have different.
Listen, you dropping gems on me right now. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know if I'm ready to be like. If I know it's right around the corner, man,
and you can't.
Gotta let go because I gotta trust what I put in the sauce, right? I gotta trust the ingredients.
How old is your oldest?
All I got is I got one. I got a 5-year-old.
Oh, man, it's the golden years, man. Both of y'all in the golden years on the low.
Listen, my golden years get ready to get real copper real soon because I got that
teenager.
She's not even a preteen anymore. She's a teenager,
right?
And she's getting ready to go right into
the belly of the beast.
Into
back
the
to
belly,
States.
right?
Yeah.
So it's for me. It's just, have I given you enough wisdom up to this point?
Yeah.
Because I've already seen her, like, she's my oldest. I love my oldest, right? She's much like me. I'm a Taurus. She's not a Taurus.
Shout out to the Tauruses. Me too.
Shout out to all the
Capricorn
Tauruses.
in the house.
Now, we didn't say anything about Capricorns.
It's funny because she's a Virgo like her mother. You know what I'm saying? And if you know Virgos and Tauruses, they just seem to complement each other in very, very contrasting ways.
Contrasting ways.
Right. But so my oldest, she's very I guess the best word is combative, but not in a very negative way. But she's gonna challenge you. She's gonna challenge your thought. Yeah, right. She's gonna challenge your point of view, and she'll tell you like, well, I don't necessarily see it like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the older she gets, the more I'm getting that, right? Mm-hmm. And that I feel like, all my wisdom is solid. You know what I mean? It's like, what you mean? Like, how you don't see it like I was
The question
I'm giving you all these jewels and you telling me they're not jewels?
Let me ask you this, though. My thing is, when kids start getting combative and they start challenging, my question is, how long were they waiting to say, I'm ready to do this?
Right.
Because it wasn't yesterday.
They build that up.
They've been ready. They were like, I'm going to challenge this. I'm going to wait till I'm 15 and I'm going to challenge you.
And listen, there's an interesting notion, right? So like if you over discipline your kids, right, you create these automatons in the society that is just like obedient, you know what I'm saying? Or if you go too hard, they actually rebel and get disobedient, you know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of have like a mix and a balance and a lighter hand, and that and them challenging you is their first time that they are asserting themselves. And so you kind of want to nurture that a little bit, you know what I'm saying? while teaching them, you know what I'm saying, the proper way to really, you know, assert yourself and become who you're gonna be in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a tough balance, man. You know what I'm saying, like. But you know, I wouldn't say over discipline them because they're gonna go all the way to the left at that point. You know what I'm saying?
And I've seen that in other people's households.
Yeah,
where I'm
of
like,
course.
nah, that's trouble. You ask me for trouble.
Go to college, boy.
Yeah.
Ooh, they out the house for the first time.
Let me ask you this question. You guys got daughters, so this is good for me. I like this.
You got
This
a
is
son?
I got a son.
Oh, you all right?
Yeah.
Look, now,
But, you know,
a whole other set of circumstances.
But you know, it might try for the girl. You know,
Right.
You never know. I
You're
might
right.
just create boys.
I
We'll
hear
see.
that. I hear that.
We'll see. But I got a question for y'all. This is one of the funnest questions I have on the show. Did you ever get a sex talk? Who or what gave you sex education?
Nah.
Yo, my cousins, my friends and my cousins. That's
Your
who,
peers?
Yeah, your peers gave you the worst sex information
Yeah.
ever. You know what I'm saying? In the sex talk.
So my question is, what are some of the stuff they said first before I actually tell? What is some of the stuff you heard? You jump off the porch yet? What kind
That's
of
right.
peer pressure questions did you get?
Oh man, it was just really like, yo, you know, like, have you? What's up? You smashed yet?
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean, that was always the first thing. It's like, don't come talk to me until you've actually experienced this.
Right.
Like, 'cause you gonna get clowned
Yeah.
if you come into the table and you ain't never been in any experiences before.
Right.
So fathers, how do we plan to change this, and when are you going to have this conversation?
I've had it.
You've had it,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah, I've had it definitely.
I've had it with my oldest. I've had it with my oldest. And,
Was it weird?
yeah, it was
Very.
weird. It was very weird because you know, without saying too much, I felt like it could have gone smoother. Like if we could have been a little more prepared.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, I got my point across, and I think she understood it. And you know, it's funny because she tried to act like she didn't know any of what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I already
They
knew.
got a front in front of the folks.
Yeah, right. So she was fronting like she didn't know anything about what I was explaining to her.
Yeah.
And I knew, and I had already known she knew.
Right.
I was like, yo, she knows about this, but I'm not gonna let it just be what her peers are telling her.
That's
She's
right.
got to hear it from me.
Yeah.
She's got to know that, you know, the value in
Yeah.
it. You know, the dynamic,
And
value.
there's
listen,
energy involved.
And
That she's a
it's not-
goalie.
listen, let me tell
Right, you gotta be able to block.
Let me tell you, brothers who are just in stage 2 and 3
Yeah.
of the parenting thing, is not one sex talk you got to have. You got to have multiple. So you got to have age appropriate sex talks at different points in their development. You know what I'm saying? So I think my last sex talk with my whole group, I gathered them all in. I was like, yo, we got to have a family meeting. And it was around when they was in college and going to college, because now that's a whole nother one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you try to interject a little bit of, you know, religious conversation in there and morality, and, you know, try to give them a balanced picture. And then you got to kind of, you know, combat some of the information that they're getting from society as
the
well.
misinformation.
Yeah. So the talk that I had with them when they were going to college or in college is not the talk you could have with them when they're 9, 10, 11,
Absolutely.
preteens and, you know, younger teens or whatever the case is. So that's going to be an ongoing thing, and you want to kind of catch them before
transitions.
before
Yeah.
those transitions. Exactly.
Yeah, because listen, those who went to college are listening right now. You know, your first 3 months in college, you can mess around and have like 10 bodies on you.
Yeah, easy.
Because you think it's love, but you're
Right.
18 and those seniors know the
Yeah,
game, and they
that's
got
right.
they get you right when you walk
Yeah,
through.
that's right.
Matter of fact, they waiting for you at orientation.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
keep
the
it
first
100.
time you're
Yeah.
living outside your house with strangers. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So
With guys
everybody's
who's
on
using
10.
the same line that's work.
Everybody's on
I
10.
told my wife, I said that there's a guy out there who uses the same line on 100 women, and out of 100 women, he can get 10. He will talk to 500 women a month.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
He will meet the quota.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He will
Turn
continue
it
to
out.
talk about
Yeah, it's a
it.
volume.
And
game.
see, for me, you know, because I'm at that stage with my oldest where, you know, she's looking for her independence.
Of
She
course.
doesn't have it because she's only 14 years old.
Right.
But she's looking, and she knows like she can't just jump out the window
Yeah.
and be independent. Like
That's right.
this she's got to get through these stages.
Right.
But she's at that awkward stage where it's like, I want to figure these things out for myself, Dad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily need you to tell me everything.
Yeah.
But I also want her to remember, like, yo, I'm always going to be here. I'm always going
Absolutely.
to, like, I'm not just your dad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the person who cares about you the most.
That's right. And you know what I learned? You cannot take the discovery process away from the human spirit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You gotta
Gems.
let everybody discover certain things on their own. Like nobody's ever gonna take 100% of your information.
Right.
Even if they're your kids and they love you and trust you, your wife ain't gonna do it, your kids ain't gonna do it. There's a certain element of discovery that everybody has to go on by themselves.
Absolutely.
So make room for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all in that conversation. Good luck to everyone out there raising
doubt.
daughters or sons.
Pray for me, bro.
Had
Pray for me.
Had that conversation, man. It's super important, man, because you got to let them know, man, some exciting things are going to happen.
Right. Yeah. Listen, and it ain't all bad now. Don't scare
ain't all-
them. behind
Yeah,
some
right,
sex.
right,
So
right.
you
I
don't
gotta
never
tell
have
them
no
it's amazing.
grandkids. Yep.
Yeah, tell them it's amazing. I know people who've been told and really drilled about how awful it is to do this, and now,
and then when they like it, they're just like, I must be an awful person. Now you F them up for the rest of their
Yeah.
lives. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you got to be very careful with that.
So I was on a Clubhouse thing, on a call with about 200 people. It was my room talking,
Right.
and there were people asking questions. It was like, ask me a question, let me answer it. I had a panel of people, and there was a lady who was like, you look at the profile picture, she was gorgeous, like she was like a 20 out of 10. She was fine, and she came on there and she said, Sheem, she said, hey, I want to ask you something about my marriage. I was like, what's going on? I was like, I don't want to answer your question about the marriage. And she was like, listen, I waited till I was married to engage in sexual activity with my husband. Now the problem is, every time we have sex, I see Jesus in the corner.
Ooh, right. That's a
couldn't
tough
turn
one.
it off.
That's a little
Yeah,
spooky,
that's right.
though.
She couldn't.
Yeah.
I know, but she couldn't
But
turn
that's
it
that
off.
trauma. That's that trauma
Yeah.
that she got.
She got.
But she was
religious
married.
trauma.
Yeah, religious
Even though she
trauma
was
behind
married,
sex.
you sign that paper, you get married. It don't change what your habits have been.
That's
Yeah.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And,
find
and
a
that may
balance.
ruin her marriage going into the future because
Yeah.
she can't enjoy it or whatever.
Or
the
he
case
knows
is.
she doesn't enjoy it
Yeah.
because she see Jesus in the corner.
Damn, that's crazy.
And I know her being fine has nothing to do with it, but it's a
Yeah.
plus, okay?
Right.
I just want to say, should there be a basic training program amongst men in our communities where we teach how to change a tie, financial literacy, how to change a tire, speaking to elders with intent, things of those nature, building each other up? Do you think we ever can get there where we have, take out the church, take out the YMCA, take out the children's homes and things like that.
Right.
I'm talking about community-based building where we're all neighbors, and you're teaching financial literacy, you're teaching how to be action and go, and I'm teaching how to speech and talk. Like we're all shuffling our kids through this community process before they get to the school, before they get to the church. Like we're building in our community. You think we could ever have stuff like that in our communities?
Oh man, that would be amazing if we did, because it's needed, especially in our community, in our households, where a lot of times the father is missing. You know what I'm saying? So having that male energy and that male perspective is definitely useful. I know. Me growing up without my father, one of the things that I gravitated towards when I got to college was like my fraternity. You know what I'm saying? Of just a bunch of men getting together and learning from each other and showing each other. So I think that is something that's like much needed, for sure.
Do you think that's changing now? I think I see a lot more fathers at home these days than we get credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we live in the information age, right? And everything is visible now. Like we can see it in front of us, it's a click away. And so we start to see some of those narratives are shifting about black men and fatherhood and just the family. And even with financial literacy, you see that the narrative is shifting. Those people who are experts in those fields are really now saying, yo, everybody's got to understand
democratize
this.
the information.
Right.
Yeah.
And we got to get this out there so that we can start to see some change. So, I think it's very, very real, very possible. It's happening now. It's not the standard yet. But we gotta get to a point.
Would it ever be profitable for it to be the standard?
Well, if it gets profitable, then it could be the standard.
Right.
But I think. But listen,
Right.
with all right. So we have to embrace where the society is going with social media and these type of things. So therefore, podcasts like yourself and virtual spaces where the kids could come there. I think that's probably where it's going to go. It's not going to be at the YMCA anymore. I don't even know if that's still around. Is that?
Yeah, it's still around. There's
still-
still things function to help kids get out the streets.
Yeah.
But there's no development. Like you said, you went to school, but they didn't teach financial literacy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my mom, I was fortunate. My mom gave us $5 every day for school. I spent that joint every day.
Every
Didn't save
day.
a dime. I bought me a hero, bought a bag of chips and a soda every day.
Right.
That was my lunch money. But
Right.
think about if I would just
Yeah,
save $2 of that and just
right.
suffered a little bit.
Yeah. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't think about that.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the type of things that we don't have no awareness of. Some quick bullet questions for you guys really quick before we get out of here. Top 3 things you want in a woman. Now, I asked this question because I want to hear what you're going to say. Because I think
you're going to ask married men.
Right,
that's right.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's right. Top
wife-
3 things
my
you
wife
want in a
will
woman. Because listen, people are watching right now and they don't know what to look for. But I want to see if you guys say the one thing that I always say every woman should have for their man.
All right, so top 3
A man with a
things.
purpose.
Yeah.
All right, so top 3 things I want to see in a woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right, so intelligence, right? So that we could have, good conversation, right? You know what I'm saying? After we get out the bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to have a positive thinking woman. You know what I'm saying? Because if you with this person day in, day out, a negative spirit boy will drag you down and take you out.
Down.
And then of course beauty. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to have something nice to look at, man.
Absolutely.
We gotta keep it real.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say first, there has to be clear communication. I think that's the hardest thing in the relationship.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. But I see it. No, it's funny because, sometimes we see these power couples.
Yeah.
And it's just like the communication is flawless. Like they playing off of each other. They're saying things that, like they understand about each other.
Right.
And so there's no gray areas in how they communicate with each other.
That is the key.
And there's no such thing as perfect communication. But let's try and get to a point where we understand each other enough that you understand what I'm thinking. Even before I have to even say it, like there might be a situation that presents itself, right? And without me even have to say, "Oh, babe, can you do X, Y, and Z?" You already know just looking at the situation, like, "Oh, this needs to be done."
Right.
And he's got this going on, so I'm gonna step right in and do this.
Right.
And that's just part of communication, verbal and nonverbal. So I'm gonna say that's one. The second thing I'm just gonna say is not necessarily intelligence, but just a conscious awareness. Because like intelligence is in a lot of ways could be subjective, like how many countries or how many states and stuff like that.
Could just be book spots.
Right? I want to know, like, are you fully aware of what's going on around you in a conscious way?
Right.
Like you thinking about it on a higher level, not on a low level vibration, but your vibration is on a higher level, and you can see and understand how to move in certain spaces without me having to say, "Yo, babe, you come on, you gotta see that."
Right.
Sometimes we be pulled aside. You didn't see that? Like, come on, And then like Jamar, I mean, beauty is important, man.
Hey, listen. The one thing I look for every guy to have is intelligence underneath that whole umbrella of emotional intelligence, awareness, everything.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I always try to push everybody to understand, that you want to have somebody after the bedroom.
Yeah.
Even though the beauty is great, you want to be able to talk to somebody and actually have somebody motivate.
And that's sexy.
And beauty.
That's
And
sexy
let me
Good
clarify too,
Intelligence is
because
beauty, too.
Beauty isn't just the physical look of a woman.
Right.
Absolutely.
Beauty encompasses so many different things. Your spirit, the way you smile,
thoughtfulness,
your thoughtfulness, right?
Your femininity.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, I love
all
a soft
of that.
woman.
All of that contributes to a
I think
woman's
every
beauty.
man loves a soft woman once they find
but a
out
lot of these women be
they
hard.
exist.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, a lot of these women are hard because of what happened. There's the direct results, like what we talked about, 60s,
Generational
70s.
trauma type.
And then when you don't know a soft woman.
Yeah.
It's like you take all the hard women. When you meet a soft one, it changes the game.
Right. Absolutely.
But a lot of women look at that softness as weakness.
Of course, because we trained them to be that way. We trained them up.
I'm just gonna say, you know what? I can never tell women how to be women, right? I can only speak from the man point of view.
Right.
And for me, as a man, I want to speak in total. You guys disagree with me or not, but I think femininity is the way to go. What I like from women.
Yeah.
Right.
What I feel men like from women.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this. I don't think any man likes those fake eyelashes.
Yeah.
Oh man, when they too big and crazy.
In general, like I think
that's my daughter's generation. They love that big eyelash. I think it depends on if you're a man of a certain age. You know what I'm saying? We value the natural look. You know what I'm saying? Because you remember back in the 80s, 90s, a weave was a big thing. Like, oh, she's wearing a weave. Now, boy, they be throwing them around.
Listen,
full frontal
I used to think it was
lace.
crazy for a woman to wear a wig. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
you got a wig on. Now I'm realizing like they all got wigs.
Nah, they all got wigs, bro. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get used
just-
to it. You know.
some of them don't feel like doing their hair. Some of them don't have hair. It's
But
all
listen,
these circumstances.
I tell my wife all the time too. touching on the femininity thing is that, yo, the best way to get me to do anything for you is to be soft with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as you buck up and get hard, you're going to incite my ego, and I'm going to buck up and get harder. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to outman me. You know what I'm saying? So it's better for you to do something that I ain't got, which is just be soft, feminine, and then, yo, I'll do anything in the world for
Because
you.
once we say we're going to marry you or be with you, we have a softer side for you than we give everybody else.
Right.
Like, my mother always told me, your wife or your girlfriend should never see what you put out in the streets. They should never see you like that.
Right.
Yeah.
They should never
Absolutely.
see you turn into an animal.
That's right.
Unless it's protection time.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
right there. So I kind of live by that.
Yep, that's right.
Now, as a husband,
Mm-hmm.
would you rather have a great woman or a great wife?
Explain that a little bit. I need to.
You define it where you think that is. This is a question. There's no right or wrong answer.
Right.
But whatever which one you pick, tell me why.
I think a great wife comes from being a great woman. So I don't. It's hard for me to say, well, I'd rather you be a great woman than to be a great wife, because I feel like if you're a great woman, you're going to be a great wife. So I think the womanhood it trumps everything, because it's going to pretty much be the umbrella for how you are as a career woman, as a wife, as a mother. All these other roles and all these other hats you gotta wear is going to come out of your womanhood and how you define yourself as a woman.
So you picking a woman first?
I'm saying woman first, because if I got a good woman, then I think by default I'm gonna have a good wife.
Right.
Okay, so
I'm going to go with the opposite answer. I'm going to say a good wife, right? Because the title itself entails that you are taking care of others outside yourself, right? Like, your title is like, you're my helpmate, you're my wife. And so that spirit of giving, you know what I'm saying, is what I could and nurturing is what I could definitely appreciate more than just, a good woman. Like, her resume is banging, she got a good job, she got this, but, is she nurturing? You know what I'm saying? Does she, put a battery in your back to get your day going, So,
So tell me this. There's nothing wrong with you guys' answers. This is what you prefer.
Yeah.
So, but on the flip side of that is, if they were giving out awards, would you rather win Man of the Year or Father of the Year?
Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
Huh.
Well, listen, my wife tells me all the time, you're a great father. But when it comes to the husband piece, you got some work to do type stuff. So, Father of the Year comes with a lot of pride, because the way your kids look at you. And then,
Because now, remember now, we
Yeah.
talked about earlier the object of being home and not home.
right,
Yeah.
right,
So either you want to be Man of the Year,
right.
which you're for everybody.
But see, who's
Yeah.
giving out the award? Right? Who's giving out the award? If I'm getting Father of the Year, only my kids can give me that.
Right,
You
absolutely.
feel me? So that means more than society saying I'm a great man.
Yeah,
For my kids to say, yo, there's nobody better than my father.
right.
That's like, there's
That's a deep
nothing,
compliment.
right?
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that. Like,
Yeah, 'cause
I
you
don't
get-
need nothing else in life.
Right.
There's
You
no
could be
wrong
Man of the
answer.
Year,
Yeah.
and then
I
your
like
kids
it.
is
I
like,
like
he's a bastard at home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I don't know how far it goes. That's
Right.
All right, that's cool. I love the answers. I hope everybody's listening, dropping these gems.
true. Yeah.
Let me ask you another question. We talk about leaving legacies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But are we ignoring major steps? Do you have a will?
Ooh,
We
I
just
do
talked
not.
about
Yeah,
that.
we did just talk about it.
We just talked
and
about
look, my younger brother's an attorney, man, and I still haven't got my will together because you know what? I think when you grow up poor, you just don't start realizing when you have enough to even leave. You know what I'm saying?
do you need anything to have a will? See, the thing is, you think we are scared of talking about death, or the fact that it surrounds death? Because wealth is built through insurance.
Yeah,
wealth is built through so
absolutely.
many
That's a
things.
fact.
So when we talk about wealth and trust and paying taxes and having
Right.
these things lined
Yeah.
up, well, we don't have to go to probate court,
Right.
so our things can pass on to our kids.
Right.
Why,
I
do
think
we run away from these things?
I don't think for me it's a concern about like the reality of my mortality. It's not that for me. For me, it's like I want to have a will that is chock full of the things that I think you should leave a child. Like you said, a trust, right? So it's like, okay, I want to have a business, right? And I want to pass that business on to my children. But if I got to make sure my business is tight, and if my business is tight, then I can create a trust that's also airtight. and then I can create all these other different assets and legacies
Yeah.
that I can package together.
Yeah.
And then when I go and sit down with a lawyer to talk about my will, I'm talking about those specific things that I put in
I feel like I'm
place.
still building too. Like I still like there's still more to
can
put
always
into
add
it.
to it.
Yeah, that's
right.
No,
and that's what a lot of people
exactly
say.
right.
Like, no,
I
you
gotta
can
change
always
my
go back
mentality.
and modify.
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
modify,
I got to
change
change
it.
my mentality on it.
Some
and get
people have
started.
4 or 5 wills they keep finding after they death, and just things keep just
Right.
going through. But at least they
Yeah.
took the time because
Yeah.
listen, they want to take what we have.
That's
And they'll
true.
happily take it. They didn't
Yeah.
want you to have it in the first place. You got through the cracks
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just
true. I
remember
didn't think
that.
of it that way.
directly from us. Directly from us. Some people get their things through insurance and have these informations, which helps them grow.
Yeah.
But directly from us, we need to have these things. And I'm gonna be honest.
agree.
I'm gonna be
Now,
transparent.
do you got a will?
I'm about to say I don't have one.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like we got to
And I
really
talk
get on
about
that,
this
brothers.
all the time on my
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Like it's very easy to get one, but I don't have one.
Now, what's holding you up?
What's holding me up?
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm getting one this year.
Right.
Okay,
That's it.
okay.
That's it.
Absolutely
Yeah.
nothing. Just that when the day to day you're grinding so hard, and I
Mm-hmm.
hate using the word grind. You're assimilating yourself to be successful,
Right.
and you don't think about the end. You just think about the interim and next 5 years.
Right,
right.
But it's not about mortality. It's just about, hey, I'm still gonna be here tomorrow. Are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, right.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right.
Now, that's
And
good, man. I'm about to get out and give me a will tomorrow. Calling my brother when
super
I get
transparent.
out of here. Right.
I might procrastinate on
Couple more questions. Yeah, exactly. Be honest.
I ain't gonna front.
A couple more questions that we got to go because we about out of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when should a man get serious about a woman? Quick gems on that.
You know, for me, it's there's no one way to know, right? Because obviously everybody's different, you know, and no two people can tell you about what's going on in a relationship, but those two people that are in it.
Right.
Okay. I don't care how it looks on the outside. Only those two people know what's really going on. But I'll be honest with you. I think it takes years. It takes years to truly get to know somebody. Because even the person that you may marry, you're learning each other even after marriage. You're
yeah.
figuring things out that you ain't see initially.
Right.
Like, wait, I ain't see this before. And
Right.
you're like, where'd this come from?
Right.
But we marry now. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to discourage people from marriage. But I kind of, you know, I have to give pause to people who, after 2-3 months in a relationship with somebody, that they're already in this whole
Yeah, but you know what though? I think it's a business decision though, because you cannot
yeah.
truly know a person. It might take a lifetime for you to know a person, right?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we as men, we get hung up on this knowing a person when, you know, it's gonna take too many years. You
But
can't-
what's too soon?
So what I'm saying, all right, so for me personally, you know, I got married after 3 months of knowing my wife. Okay. And it was more of a business decision. It was like, yo, I saw her character. I saw what type of person this was at the core, right? And then I get to know all the nuances through the years,
Yeah.
and then you start evolving and you start changing. So once you factor that in, you really don't know a person, right?
Yeah.
But her core has always been the same. And 25 years of marriage later, we still going strong.
So let me ask you this question: what is more important, like or love?
Because I feel like certain days. That's a
Yeah,
tough one,
that's-
man. That's a tough one, man. No, you know what?
'Cause I was
Love is
gonna go
more
the other
important,
way.
right? Because if I got love for you, I can not like you and still love you. You understand what I'm saying? So certain days I don't like my wife.
Like comes back around.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
But
will come
I'm
back
happy
around.
you admit that. Certain days you might not like your wife.
Yeah,
Certain days you might not like
Make
your
your
parents.
kids.
you're right. But I
or
love
your
them.
kids,
Yeah.
or your job,
I don't
or
want to see
your,
her
or your
get hit by no
purpose.
car, though. I love
But
her.
you
You know
love,
what I'm saying?
you love everything about it. You rush to it if you need to do that.
Right.
And certain people fake with you. Certain people act like they like you, and they
Yeah.
don't even love you.
Yeah, facts.
right.
They won't be there in you in the
That's
hospital
deep.
bed.
Yeah,
Right,
that's right.
right.
That's
So
right.
I think identifying that is super important. So what
Yeah.
you guys said was super important. I appreciate that.
Right.
Validation from your partner. It's like you win a championship when you meet the right woman. But fellas, I ask you, married, do you defend the title? Are you putting pressure on your wives every day? And what I mean by that is when you go out, when you looking fly or you working hard, are you putting pressure on like, man, I got to keep up with him because he could probably upgrade if I don't keep up?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think, you know, and it's not just, I think it's not just the dynamic between husband and wife. I mean, I think the whole community is looking at how you evolve as a person, you know. So, yeah, I feel like you know, and there's ways where I feel like she puts pressure on me, where I got to step my game up. Like, yo, look at, she's, you know, Like when I feel like I'm not in the best shape, and I feel like she's out there, and I see her working out, and I'm like, dang,
with a bag
like,
of chips.
yeah,
in
I
your hand,
better
like,
right, yeah, I better get to it. I better get to
the
it.
Buffalo Boss in your hand, like she's sweating. My comfort food is here.
You know, and vice versa. You know, I always want to inspire her, but also challenge her.
Absolutely.
You know, let's never be complacent. Like that's the worst thing you can do in a relationship is get complacent,
Right?
And think that everything and have these expectations like everything is supposed to remain this way. Nothing stays the same. The only thing that you can depend on is change.
That's right.
People going to change. Your spouse is going to change. You're going to change.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But you want to be able to change for the good, for one, and you want to be able to push people to be their best selves, whether it be your wife, whether it be your kids, whether it be your brother, your friend, doesn't matter. Right. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, our wives or our husbands and wives, they got a different dynamic. And so the relationship is different. You know, the things that you guys kind of lean on each other for and push each other towards is different than say what your boys is doing. Like, yeah, you know, your boys are going to encourage you, but your wife is going to give you, like you said, that extra
that inside,
yeah,
right.
that extra
Inside
that
nudge.
thing that you're looking for. That sometimes that's a lot deeper.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right.
If you got a good one.
If you got a good one, because
Right.
you know you got to understand people are different in relationships. Like when you see somebody, you see a female or a male, be like, man, that's such a nice girl, nice guy. I wonder why nobody married them. Because in relationships, they're a different person.
Yeah.
Right.
In
Yeah.
relationships,
Yeah.
they're a
And you
different
want
person.
to be in a relationship with a person that inspires you to go hard for them. It's like, yo, I can't disappoint her.
Right.
Like, yo, she's everything that I've wanted, or even if it's not everything, but she compliments me in such a way that I can't disappoint her.
Let me ask you a trick question though.
Yeah.
Is it better to say I can't disappoint my purpose, and she'll fall in line?
Well, that's bro. That was a jewel right there. I gotta say.
Yeah, but you know what? I think,
That was a
listen,
jewel.
I think most wives, if you are a decent husband, doing your thing and working hard, they'll follow you. You know what I'm saying? And they will support your journey. I haven't met a wife yet who has a solid guy who they just is just like,
I got a question.
What's up?
Is your purpose bigger than your marriage?
I would think so.
You would say so?
I would think so because it
So
says
you
work,
should.
it says
Your
work
purpose
the land
should
first.
you should put your purpose above everybody, anybody, and everybody.
Yeah, I mean, your life's mission should be bigger than
You work
all
in
of
the,
that.
So when it says work the land, right?
Yeah.
Once you work the land and you get married, then that order falls underneath that,
Yeah.
right? You work the land and then the marriage falls underneath that. So whatever you're doing should fall in that purpose. So both of you should be in line with pushing the purpose forward, which brings you the riches and your desires of what you all want to bring.
Yeah.
In terms of
Absolutely.
legacy and leaving something.
I only asked
Yeah,
that
because
question-
marriage is a construct, man.
Yeah.
You can't just be serving that construct all
Right.
the time, you know?
Right. And I mean, I asked that question because how many times
great
have you
question.
seen somebody who was like, man, before I got married, man, I had all these dreams and I was going to do this, but then I got married and I
Right.
had to make sure that the lights was on. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, so you put your purpose to the side because you made the marriage bigger than your purpose.
Yeah.
Well, my brother, I talk about this all the time real quick. My brother said something to me important. He was like, listen, the job you work in, the 9 to 5, that's just your crowdsourcing fund. Take that money and go do what you really want to
Exactly.
do.
Right.
So those of you working a job you don't want to be at, how much are you really sacrificing to go where you want to go?
Right.
Why you don't shoot your face? All right, guys, we got to get ready to get out of here. Hold on one
All
second.
right.
Cool.
I came up with something called operating at 100%. And what I mean by that is I took 5 categories and separate them in 20% each. That's purpose, health, confidence, knowledge, and money. Purpose, health, confidence, knowledge, and money. 20% each, totaling up to 100%. You can do it daily or weekly. That's purpose, health, confidence, money, and knowledge. Purpose mean you living your purpose, doing the work you need every day. Health mean you working out, eating right, doing the things you need to do, or having some good comfort food from Buffalo Boss. Confidence mean you're doing things without any fear. Money means you're investing, saving, and spending a little bit towards the sustainability of your future. And knowledge, you took in some new information. So I ask you, Jamar, Anwar, within the last 24 hours, how much of 100% have you been operating out of? That's purpose, health, confidence, money, and knowledge, all 20% each.
All right. Wait, have we kept that boundary of the 20% each?
Yeah, out of purpose, how much of the purpose you've been working out of 20%?
Oh, 100% purpose right now.
20% on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got
For
health.
sure. Yep. Because we have a new outlet, right? So right now the whole focus is on the new baby, which is the outlet. So the purpose is there, right? Working on the vision.
Health.
Yep. Health. Probably
10%.
at about 5-10%. I don't even think I'm at about 5% of that.
Confidence.
And I gotta get
Listen.
back to that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Confidence, got to be 100% with that, because right now when you in turbulent times,
Money.
you know what I'm saying? Money.
That's investment. That's saving, and that's also spending.
I'm doing more spending than saving right now. So I would say
is
like
it spending or investment?
no, it's investment. No, all right, so that's at 100% because it's all being put into the business. You know,
And knowledge.
knowledge.
Taking some new information.
Yeah, well, dispensing information. I definitely say that. You know, I'm doing 100% of that. You know,
So you're operating at 85%.
85.
So what you're lacking is you need to work out a little bit and get a little help.
Yeah,
Get a
for
little-
sure.
Get
For
a little
sure.
spiritual guidance.
Yeah, that's right. Recharge the battery.
Okay. For me, okay, the first one was
Purpose.
purpose. I'm going to say 100%.
Health.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 80%.
No, out of 20.
20, so maybe about 15%.
Confidence. Operating without any fear or any insecurities.
10%. I'm just be brutally honest right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Money.
yeah.
10%.
Okay. And knowledge. Took in some new information.
15%.
Okay. You're operating at
taking it a lot.
70%.
Yeah, I'm gonna be.
You're taking in
yeah.
a lot of knowledge right now, though, bro.
I am.
Yeah, so
I am.
that might be 100.
No, you're right. No,
That's
as a matter of fact, yeah. Let's change knowledge up to 20.
All right. So you operate at 80%.
Yeah.
So the goal of everything is if you operate at 95% above, there's no reason why you can't reach your purpose every day and be the best person you can be. When we're all the best person we could be, that's the group project.
Boom.
The group project is be the best individual we can be. Then light will continue to permeate
right.
throughout everybody.
I love it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
You're now part of the
This
Silhouette
was dope.
Boys Club.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
people like
yeah.
you to help people like me shine. Now, before you go, we love to get referrals for the show.
Yeah.
Is there any one man that you would love to come on this podcast to drop these gems and answer these questions?
Oh, that's dope. I got to think about that one.
One person that we would like to see on the podcast.
Yeah. We do it
Man.
via Zoom. We do it in person. Whatever you want to do.
Right. Damn,
Oh,
I got to
man.
call Hov for you, man. I got to place a call. I mean,
say
Hov on
Hov?
the show would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be.
That's all
electric.
he does is drop. Right. That's all he does. He was just on Kevin Hart, so you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's Kevin Hart, though. I'm
Yeah,
just
I know,
little
right?
me.
That's what I was
People
saying.
like,
Yeah.
who's that guy?
Yeah.
You know what podcast that I'm really vibing. I dig it a lot because I feel like, especially now that they've really caught a wave that is really their footprint is pretty big right now. You know, Earn Your Leisure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I love listening to them, and I think
Well, who would you recommend for this podcast, brother?
I would recommend the host of Earn Your Leisure onto your podcast.
You know them?
I don't know him personally, no,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
if that
you
would
gotta-
ever to happen,
yeah.
I
Oh,
would
he
be-
said
I would be-
a
I would be
recommendation
tuned
that we
in.
know. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could try to
I was
get
just
him.
talking
I could
about
try
people
to
I would
get
love
him,
to
yeah.
see on here. People that I know, oh man, who would it? I mean, there's so many.
I mean,
people.
you got a lot of people like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of people here. Yeah,
Somebody you feel that continue the knowledge we talked
The
about.
Mr. Softy people.
Oh yeah, Heath and
Heath Bailey.
Yeah.
See, now you've been
That's
called
mine.
out, sir. You've
Yeah.
been called out numerous
Boom.
times
Let's
on
go,
this
Heath.
show.
I know he had. I mean, he was podcasting for a minute.
Yeah, we got to get him out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might
Absolutely.
be good for the
Entrepreneur
show.
and inspirational
And you, sir?
figure.
Oh, you know who else?
So who else?
Hassan will be great for this show.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Absolutely.
got a brother that it's interesting. This story is very interesting because Hassan is a little about our age.
Yeah.
Right?
They
So
started
they've
hip-hop
been
out
here. Yeah. They were because they both. Well, Ahmed didn't go to the U.S., but Hassan did go to the U.S.
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Right.
And he was kind of immersed in the hip hop culture, and he ended up bringing it back here.
Yeah.
All right.
And these are two Emiratis locals that love hip hop.
All
All right, we got to get him on
Love
the show.
hip-hop.
Yeah, we got to
Yeah.
have a
And
conversation.
can have a conversation about any hip hop artist, be it Tupac, Big, can break down lyrics for you,
Right.
can tell you about what hip hop looked like
I love
20
it 'cause
years
I'm from the
ago.
Bronx. We're going to go all the way back.
Yeah. That's it.
We're called Whistle, and this
all
is
the way
true.
back.
We love to do the things that we're not supposed to do.
And they came they came up when, things were very strict here still.
Yeah.
Like, things
they
have
couldn't wear
loosened
pants.
up. Yeah, you couldn't wear pants. Like you couldn't say certain things on cassette tape. And they were
Digested
Yeah, they
it.
were digesting it.
were
All
rebels.
of it. Right. They were rebels.
Right.
You know.
That
And
would
so
be
that
amazing.
that's that.
Yeah,
that
that'd be
would
a
an interesting
recommendation. We share the
conversation.
same friends here. I don't got no friends
Yeah.
outside of this.
Who do you
guy.
got in the States you think that I could recommend to get them on the show?
You know, I do have a cousin in Milwaukee who's running a restaurant.
yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
Taj
Taj.
Pearsall for
Yeah.
sure.
Taj, let's do it.
Yeah, so maybe we can get him on the
I
Zoom
mean,
call.
anybody
and
would love a
figure it out.
Jay-Z recommendation. That's unstated.
Right, that's
Yeah.
right, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm saying realistic.
Yeah, realistically,
speaking. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
realistically speaking.
realistically,
Yeah.
let's work towards that. If we get up there, we
Yeah.
get up there. We, you know,
I
this
could
is the
get my
path.
cousin on the show, and he has an interesting perspective because he did like 5 years pen time. You know what I'm saying? And then transition his life to now being the owner and working on his second restaurant down in Milwaukee.
Well, Antron from the Central Park 5, he just
Yeah.
came on the show.
Really?
Oh, that's amazing.
So we're going to put out his interview soon.
Was it
Antron,
here?
shout
Was
out
it
to
done
you.
here?
No, we had to do it via Zoom, but it was
Okay.
great. We had a conversation, and our conversation was
dope.
great on the show. So let y'all know that's coming out soon, ladies and gentlemen. So that's definitely going to come out before this one.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
yeah, we're going to get ready to go. Any shout outs you like to give before the show? Shout out Buffalo Boss. I'm going to try the food right after this. We only got a couple minutes to go before the next set of team comes in. So let us know. You got any shout outs? Anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, well, shout out to you for having us on here, man.
Yeah, big time.
We had a great time, and may you have continued success, man.
I appreciate that, my brother.
That's the only shout out, man. Shout out Sheem. Sheem is the man right now.
Sheem is the man.
I'm glad.
Man, listen,
I'm glad we
it,
had a
it
chance.
couldn't
to do
happen
this.
without great minds to come together, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Buffalo Boss, y'all. I'm telling y'all got to get some of these shrimps.
230 Jamara.
Yeah,
230
better than
Jamara.
It's
One.
really good
Right.
food. Come
We got
check
the
it out.
best
I'm
shrimp.
so grateful. Dynamite
for
shrimp,
days.
honey barbecue, mild, original. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try all of that. We got the oh my god wings
Best
over here.
wings in the UAE.
Look,
OMG.
look. Let me tell you something. I know they talking about Buffalo Boss wings, but they French fries are delicious.
Word. Yes. The
I told you this
sides.
off
The
air.
sides.
I was not lying.
Yeah, yeah.
The French fries. I don't eat French fries. I went and bought another pack.
We
So
got
good.
him.
Before we go, we like to give an end quote from Dr. Miles Monroe. But let you know first that you can reach me at solutionsformen@gmail.com or at SheemOne on all platforms. Facebook, Clubhouse, Twitter, Instagram. Hit me up, man. Let's talk about it. Let's have a show. This is a quote from Dr. Miles Monroe. True success is not measured by how much you have done or accomplished. It's not compared to what others have done or accomplished. True success is what you have done compared to what you could have done. In other words, living to the maximum is competing with yourself and living to your own true standards and capabilities. Success is satisfying your own personal passion and purpose in pursuit of personal excellence. So question of the day, question of your life. Are you maximizing your life? Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Solutions for Men. I'm Sheem, Jamar and Anwar. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
She gave me the green light. Now it's time to take flight. Let's go.
Cause I'm out the ordinary. Out the ordinary.